read the last paragraph?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead.
This then is the mystery. How did an illimitable consciousness and force of integral being enter into this limitation and separativeness? How could this be possible? And if its possibility has to be admitted, what is its justification in the real and its significance? It is the mystery not of an original illusion, but of the origin of the ignorance and inconscience, and of the relations of knowledge and ignorance to the original consciousness or superconscious.
So let's understand what he's saying in a nutshell. He is telling you that the experience of nirvana is so convincing that you feel that at the highest level there is total reality and total truth, and at the lowest level there is a total illusion and an unreality. Okay, so this is what he's saying. But he's saying that is not a correct interpretation. There can be other interpretations. And the other interpretation is that it is not that the world is unreal. It is your way of looking at things which is causing the problem. Okay, so you have to examine the ways of knowing the reality. There is an object and you are the subject and you want to know. You are the subject and the world is the object and you want to know it. And the connection between the two is given by the instruments of knowledge. At the lowest level, there are senses, and at the highest level, there are these senses which become subtle, and also you can identify yourself with, there are other instruments of knowledge. So let us look at the way how knowledge acts. Okay, what is knowledge and what is ignorance? Let's look at that. That's what he's saying in this para. Now, quick go through each sentence. And this then is a mystery. What is a mystery? How can God, who is perfect, create suffering and misery and unreality? He is totally real. How can he do this? How is it possible? Our idea of God is that he is perfect in every way. Okay? But the world is unreal and suffering, death, all these things are there. This is the mystery. How is it that the divine is doing all this? This is one way of looking at it. How is it that unreality is so total? How can it be? So, Shri is saying it is not the world at all which is unreal. It is your way of looking at it that is the problem. So, we will look at the different ways of knowledge, different ways of looking at the reality. That's the next chapter. So this then is a mystery. How did an illimitable consciousness and force of integral being, absolute integral being, enter into this limitation and separativeness? The one, the divine is one. How did it become so many? How is that possible? And also note how interestingly the next sentence, how with a lowercase. Okay, this is Srendu's way of writing. The purists of grammar will say wrong. You should have put a capital H. But he is putting a lower H. Why? Because he is telling you that this is a related question. It's not really a different question, it's a related question. How could this be possible? And if its possibility has to be admitted, you need not admit, because the Mayavadins and the Buddhists are not admitting. They say no, the physical world is absolutely unreal. So, how could this be possible? And if its possibility has to be admitted, what is its justification in the real and its significance? So why is, if at all he is doing this, why is he doing it? It is a mystery, not of an original illusion. In other words, he is saying that the illusion is created. It is not self-existent. The word original means that is the origin of everything. So illusion is not an original. It is not a fundamental reality which exists independent of other things. It is created. It is dependent on conditions. That's what it means. Okay. But on the origin of the ignorance, okay, and inconscience and of the relations of knowledge and ignorance to the original consciousness of superconscious. Yeah, we agree that there is one God who is absolutely super conscious. So why is he creating knowledge and ignorance? That is what we will look at. And that goes on for another 500 pages. Slowly, one by one, he goes on telling you. So this is what he's saying. So the problem shifts from the unreality of the physical world to the way of seeing it. The problem now shifts. So we have the next chapter, the knowledge and the ignorance. How can the knowledge become the ignorance? And what is ignorance? When you are seeing the many and thinking these to be real. Okay. You also have the image of Plato. The Plato's image is that men are in a cave and there is a sun outside, and the sun is throwing the shadows of everything in the cave onto the back wall of the cave. And you are seeing the shadows and thinking they are real. But when you turn your face not to the back of the cave, but when you turn your face and face the in front, then you see the sun, and then you realize that is the awakening to the spiritual consciousness. Then you see the sun, you see the reality. It is the sun which is creating these shadows. That's Plato's image. Okay? Plato was what? 2000. How many years ago? 2,500, 3,000, around the time of Buddha, na? 3,000 years ago. So, and that's why Swayanambhu gives very, very high status to Plato. Tremendous intelligence and also spiritual attainment. So, now we come to knowledge and the ignorance, and the relation between them. How does the knowledge become the ignorance? So, let's start reading. Yasmin read, so now Sunki can read, and then finally Shilpa also can read. Okay, so let's start reading.
Yes, I will read.
Yeah, read.
The knowledge and the ignorance. Let the knower distinguish the knowledge and the ignorance. Rig Veda. Two are there, hidden in the secrecy of the infinite, the knowledge and the ignorance. But perishable is the ignorance, immortal is the knowledge, another than they is he, who rules over both the knowledge and the ignorance. Shvetasupattara Upanishad. Two unborn, the knower and one who knows not, the Lord and one who has not mastery. One unborn and in her are the object of enjoyment and the enjoyer. Shvetasupattara Upanishad. Two are joined together, powers of truth, powers of Maya. They have built the child and given him birth, and they nourish his growth. Rigveda. In our school.
No, we'll have a quick look at these quotations, okay? And then we'll go on to the main syllabus text. Let the knower distinguish the knowledge and the ignorance. The knower is one who is spiritually illumined. The one who is, so when you become spiritually illumined, it depends at what level. At the highest level, you understand that it is knowledge which is creating the ignorance. Knowledge has the power to limit itself. Knowledge is not something static. The light is not something static without power. Light has the power to reduce itself and diminish itself. Okay? Like in theaters, when the lights are on, the show is about to start. It may be a cinema hall or it may be a theater, and the lights are slowly dimmed. And then finally you have darkness, and then the show starts. So light has the power to reduce itself and become ignorance. So let the knower, the one who is a spiritual seeker, he should understand that knowledge has the power to become the ignorance. He should distinguish between the two. Then the next one from Shweta Ashvatara Upanishad. Shweta Ashva, okay. The white horse. Shweta Ashva, Ashvatara. Two are there, the knowledge and the ignorance, hidden in the secrecy of the infinite. the knowledge and the ignorance. But perishable is the ignorance, immortal is the knowledge. Another than they is he who rules over both the knowledge and the ignorance. Now, let's understand exactly what he's saying. This Shvetashvatara Upanishad is speaking about 3 levels. Okay? That's why we go on saying 3 levels. I'll tell you what the levels are. So there are 2, he's saying. First of all, he's starting with 2. The knowledge and the ignorance. The knowledge is the second level of the spiritual planes of consciousness. Okay? And it is knowledge. But the first level is the level 1 of the ignorance. Okay? So there is, when you are identified with your body, mind, life, as we all are, okay, all of us are, we think that I am the body, I am the vital, I am the mind. That is level 1, and you are in ignorance because you are not seeing the truth. When you make your mind silent, or you manage to get your consciousness out of the body, mind, life, the prison of body, mind, life, and go up, you feel yourself stationed above the head, then you know that, oh, the body, mind, life is only instruments, I am pure consciousness. So then that is the level 2. But there is a clear distinction between the reality and the unreality. You see the physical world as unreal. There are only 2. Then there is level 3. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Level 3 is the superconscient, which understands both knowledge and ignorance. It understands that level 1 and level 2 are both real. Okay, that is the level 3. Now let's read that and see, because this is also there in the it is very, very similar to the Gita. So I'll just tell you what the Gita is here. 2 are there hidden in the secrecy of the infinite. Secrecy of the infinite is level 3. Knowledge and the ignorance, but there they are hidden. But perishable is the ignorance. Level 1 is perishable. What does the word perishable mean? Transient. It is there now, it disappears. It is created and gets destroyed. Perishable. Nothing is permanent in the physical world in the level 1. Nothing except the world itself. That is, but constant movement and constant change. This is level 1. Is the perishable is the ignorance. Immortal is the knowledge. When you go to level 2, you realize that your consciousness is not part of the physical world. It is something which is immortal. You realize that you always were there and you are a part of the divine. That's level 2. Okay? The soul, the psychic being, if you want, or even the self, if you want. This is, you realize that you have always been and you will always be. You are part of the divine. But there is a third level. Another than they is he. And he has put he with a H cap, because at level 3, you have the impersonal and the personal aspect of the divine. So it becomes a he. But this he can also be impersonal. At level 2, there is only impersonality. There is no personality there. God doesn't have a form in level, in the spiritual planes of consciousness. Okay, so that's it. This is the third level. And it is he who rules. He is the king. He is the king of level 1 and level 2 over both knowledge and ignorance. And in the Gita, with the 3 levels I mentioned like this, there is the Kshara Purusha. Kshara is mutable, perishable, changeable, transient, impermanent, level 1. Okay, that's 1. But your psychic being is there in level 1. It is hidden under the thick clothes and veils of your body, your vital and your mind. It is hiding behind there. Then you come to level 2, you realize that you are Akshara Purusha. You are immutable. You are permanently the self. You are permanently the self. In the psychic being, there is change. But level 2, you realize that you are eternal. Okay, that is Kshara Purusha level 1, Akshara Purusha level 2, but there is a third, Anya Purusha. That's what. Here also they are using another than they. So that is the third level, the Purushottama. Kshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha. So you reverse the Uttama Purusha, the highest Purusha, Purushottama. Okay. So this is what the Shvetashvatara is saying. It is echoing the Gita. Then we come to the another quotation from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Two unborn, the knower and one who knows not, the Lord and one who has not mastery. One unborn, and in her are the object of enjoyment and the enjoyer. So, two unborn, the psychic being which is in the, it is covered up in under the ignorance of the body mind life, and the other is the knower, the self. So this is again two. There are different ways of explaining this. In another Upanishad, there is like two birds. One bird is sitting on a lower branch, which is your level 1, and the other one is sitting on level 2, slightly higher branch, and it is free of suffering and knowledge, suffering and pain and pleasure. But the lower one is eating the fruits. Eating the fruits means it is subject to all the experience of the physical world. In level 2, your soul is not at all affected by the physical world. It is not affected by all the movement, and it is immutable. So this is what he's saying. So it does not have mastery. But the mastery comes at level 3. Okay? That's what he's saying. And in her are the objects of enjoyment and enjoyer. Okay, so this is the level 1, you are subject to the enjoyment and the enjoyer. This is the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Then you come to the third one again, the Rig Veda. Two are joined together. The truth, powers of truth, powers of Maya. They have built the child and given him birth, and they nourish his growth. So the child is the individual soul, the Jivatman, the individual soul, which has broken off from the parent infinite God. The divine is one infinite, and he creates small souls which are really essentially the same as he, and that is the immortal. That's a child. The child is the individual soul, and the parent is the divine infinite level. And the child is given birth by the powers of truth. That is, from Satchidananda he is born, and there is also the power of Maya. Maya is the power to create forms, and they nourish his growth. So all these are allowing the child, the individual soul, to grow. That's what all human beings are doing. Not only human beings, all creatures. Even below that, the divine presence in a stone also is bound to evolve one day. That's what we say. Shilpa, now we can go to the first para of the chapter. He is going to summarize whatever he has said. Okay? Shilpa is there? Yeah. Okay, read in our scrutiny.
In our scrutiny of the seven principles of existence, it was found that they are one in their essential and fundamental reality. For if even the matter of the most material universe is nothing but a status of being of spirit made an object of sense, envisaged by the spirit's own consciousness as the stuff of its forms, much more must be the life force that constitutes itself into form of matter and the mind consciousness that throws itself out as life and the supermind that develops mind as one of its powers be nothing but spirit itself modify in apparent substance and in dynamism of action not modified in real essence. All are powers of one power of being and not other than all existence, all consciousness, all will, all delight, which is the true truth behind every appearance. And they are not only one in their reality, but also inseparable in the sevenfold variety of their action. They are the seven colors of the light of the divine consciousness, the seven rays of the infinite and by them the spirit has filled in on the canvas of his self-existence conceptually extended, woven of the objective wrap of space and the subjective woof of time. The myriad wonders of his self-creation, great, simple, symmetrical in its primal law and vast framing, infinitely curious and intricate in its variety of forms and action, and the complexities of relations and mutual effect of all upon each and each upon all. These are the 7 words of the ancient sages. By them have been created and in the light of their meaning are worked out and have to be interpreted the developed and developing harmonies of the world we know and the worlds behind of which we have only an indirect knowledge. The light, the sound is the one, their action is sevenfold.
Okay, so he has summarized whatever he has to say, and he has told you the secret of what he is going to develop. So I'll do one thing. I'll read out the summary of what he's saying here, then we'll go into each sentence, because he used very interesting images. Huh? The warp and woof. So what is that? Okay, we'll have a look at it. Yeah. Just 1 minute. Yeah, I've got it. So the summary is like this. What he said. We have completed our survey of the 7 principles of existence. And what are those 7 principles of existence? Starting from the top, Sat, Chit, Ananda, 3, Supermind, the middle, the link between the upper and the lower. Sat, Chit, Ananda, 3 are the upper hemisphere. Supermind is the link between the two. And then you have mind, life, and body. Or if you want, mind, life, and matter. So these are the 7 planes of consciousness, and you can divide it any way you want, but Swami is following the Vedic principle. Okay. You can divide it into 12, you can divide it into 3, you can divide it into even 2, you can say there is no division at all, it's only 1, you can say, because it's a RAM. Okay. It's like water, ice, water, and water vapor. Essentially the same and taking different forms. So we have completed our survey of the 7 principles of existence, all of which are intimately connected in essence. Essentially, they are all one. And what is that one? Satchidananda. Okay, so upper hemisphere, Sat, Chit, Ananda, and Gnosis. The lower hemisphere, mind, life, and matter. These 7 principles are essentially one, even if phenomenally formulated in 7 variations. And the example we give always is very easy to understand: ice, water, water vapor. Essentially the same, yet 3 different forms. This is also similar to the prism that breaks up the colorless light into 7 brilliant colors of the rainbow. So again, another image also is given, the prism. The prism breaks up the white light into 7 colors. So this is Supermind is the prism. Supermind is the one that makes this Satchidananda one into 7 colors. Okay. The Supermind, with its power of Maya, the power to create forms, creative faculty of real forms, has expressed himself in utter Ananda. As an artist, he has painted this vast universe, which is infinitely variegated on the canvas of time and space. Okay? Time is a warp and space is a woof. All this vast creation, however multitudinous it may appear, is really one in essence. So what is this warp and woof? Those who know about the weaving of the cloth, okay? There is a loom and there are strings which are coming down like that. Okay, this is the warp, and the woof is the shuttle that is sent across, and then it is changed, and then again it comes. It goes like that. Okay, so that is the warp and the woof. This is what's using the image of the loom, the weaving loom. Okay, so nowadays it is done by mechanically, but earlier it used to be by the foot pedal. You press the pedal and then the threads above and the threads below, they go on changing. And when they change, you shoot one thread across. So you get this effect of the cloth. So that's a warp and a woof. So he's saying that the Satchidananda has created the warp and the woof, and that is time and space. Okay. And however multitudinous it appears, it is really one. A supreme reality which has objectivized itself in infinite forms and colors is this universe. So this is what he said in the para, the first para. Okay, clear? There is a absolute Satchidananda which has expressed itself. It has created the world through its expression, its power of formation. So now we'll go through each sentence and see quickly. We have got 15 minutes. So, in our scrutiny of the 7 principles of existence, it was found that they are one in their essential and fundamental reality. Satchidananda and body, mind, life and supermind are really essentially one. There is no difference between them. Okay? And what is that one? So you can think of it in 4 ways. You can think of it as a substance. You can think of it as a matter, but subtle matter. It is really a matter. Then you can think of it also as consciousness. This matter is conscious. So you can think of it as consciousness also. You can also think of it as power. And you can also think of it as Ananda. So this one is there everywhere, but in different proportions. Sometimes the power is there, but the other 3 are hiding behind. Sometimes it is only the substance and the others are hiding in the substance. Sometimes it's only Ananda, but the other 3 are hiding behind the Ananda. It's all one. In our scrutiny of the 7 principles of existence, it was found that they are one in their essential and fundamental reality. For if even the matter of the most material universe is nothing but a status of being of spirit, made an object of sense, envisaged by the spirit's own consciousness as the stuff of its forms, much more must a life force that constitutes itself into form of matter, and the mind consciousness that throws itself out as life, and the supermind that develops mind as one of its powers, be nothing but spirit itself, modified in apparent substance and in dynamism of action, not modified in real essence. It's going on changing its form, but essentially it's the same. That's what it's saying. Okay? Again, you go back to the idea of the seed and the tree. Okay? So the supermind, the Satchidananda is the seed. It contains all that is there and it manifests them by involution. It does that. Okay, so just like the seed sprouts and goes on creating leaves and flowers and fruits and whatnot. But this is upside down. In fact, you have in the Upanishad and also in the Gita, the image of the vast tree is given, but it is urdhva mula. That means the roots are above and the branches are below. The branches because the one in the physical world is below. So, nothing but spirit. Everything is only spirit. Everything is God if you want to use non-philosophical.
What is the name? What is the name of that tree with the roots up?
Esho Ashwatha Sanatana. That is the word in the. It's an eternal tree. The eternal. There is no name for it. Okay, they call it Ashwatha. The Ashwatha is one of the largest trees in India. Ashwatha. It's not the banyan tree, huh? By the way. The banyan tree is different. But this is Ashwatha. It's a very large tree and they call it Esha Ashwatha Sanatana. It is the eternal tree. I don't think there is a name to it. I'm not sure.
But does it signify the cosmic consciousness?
Not consciousness, but the cosmos itself. Yeah.
Oh, it represents the cosmos.
Yes. The cosmos is the branches, all the branches. That's right.
Oh, but why are the roots up?
Because the root is the one that is the starting point of the tree, na?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the source. The root is supposed to be one, but actually, even the root develops many, many different types of roots. But it is supposed to be. That's why a better image is a seed. Okay. All right. So now we go to the next sentence. Modified now. All are powers of one power of being and not other than that all existence. So you have so many powers, no? So, but power is essentially one. But when it comes down, like the light breaks up into 7 colors, the power also becomes different types of powers. You have electrical power, you have the power of the sun, light, you have the power of your muscle, okay? Even the wind is a power, the river flowing is a power, all different. Thermonuclear power, electrical power, muscular power, okay? Physical power, light also is a power, different. Power becomes many, many different types of powers. Then consciousness. All are powers and also consciousness. So you have animal consciousness, you have human consciousness, you have spiritual consciousness, and you also have divine consciousness. Consciousness also becomes many. All will, it also becomes different types of wills. From the divine will to the will of the, even the ant, it has also got a will. Okay, so very, very tiny will. Then all delight. Delight also can be of different types. There can be a delight in the mind, there can be a delight in the heart, even the body, there can be a delight. No? So this is the one becoming the many, which is the true truth behind every appearance. So now, this is Sri Ramanuja's way of speaking, true truth. People who don't understand that there is a gradation will find fault with this phrase. How can truth be true? It is already true, but there is a truth at every level. That's what, there is a gradation of truth. Partly true, and yet it becomes greater and greater truth. Even in mathematics, you have the same concept that infinity is not one. There are many levels of infinities. So it is something that we can understand that even truth and consciousness all are graded. From the lowest level to the highest level, there's a gradation. It becomes more and more perfect, more and more conscious, more and more power, and matter becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. So that's what you see. Essentially one. And the true truth is always hiding behind all these forms. Even in the lowest of the low, even in the inconscient, the divine is hiding behind the apparent veil. He is there. They are the 7 colors of the light of the divine consciousness, the 7 rays of the infinite, and by them the spirit has filled in on the canvas of his self-existence, conceptually extended, woven of the objective warp and woof, the warp of space and the subjective woof of time. The image of the loom, the weaving loom, okay? There is a warp and a woof. The myriad wonders of his self-creation, great. So first of all, he has given you the 7 rays, the image of the prism, and the other is the image of the warp and woof. Okay, so the myriad wonders of his self-creation, great, simple, symmetrical in its primal laws and vast framings, infinitely curious. There's no end to the capacity of creating. Okay. If you creating of plants, infinite number of variations of plants. Look at all the leaves only on a tree, all different types of leaves, unbelievable. Okay, the tiniest of tiniest leaves, as in grass, and there is largest trees also, the banana leaf, for instance. What a huge leaf! So Only leaf I'm talking about. What about flowers? Different flavors, different fragrances, different smells, different colors. That's why it is infinitely curious and intricate in its variety of forms and actions. This we go behind each word and you will see really how fantastic it is. I'll just give you one particular instance of what he means by infinitely curious and intricate in its forms, variety of forms. Now let us take for instance movement. Okay, how many types of movements are there? We feel that the human being has got two legs and he has the power of moving because he has got two legs. What about an animal? He is moving about on four legs. Okay. Now, then what about a worm? How many legs does it have? A centipede. Okay, it's got 100 legs. Then is it possible to move without legs? Yes, even that is possible. The snake, it goes without. So how he has invented so many different types of movements. Then is that all? Is it only legs or no legs? Then you come to the bird. He is flying without legs. He is flying with his wings. Another type of movement. Then you think of the fish. Simply by moving his tail, he is able to move. And what a fantastic speed you can go at. Okay? So this is what is meaning. When you look at it carefully, you will see infinitely curious and intricate in its variety of forms and actions. So when we start looking at the word little more in detail, you see exactly what is meaning. Okay? Vast framings, different types of birds, different types of animals, different types of fish. Okay, infinitely curious and intricate in its variety of forms and actions, and the complexities of relation and mutual effect. Even that goes on changing. Of all upon each and each upon all. Now note that. All upon each. Okay. The divine has got an influence upon everything. It includes everything. And each upon all. Each thing also is contributing to everything. Nowadays we have understood, science has understood that the ecology, if you change one element, it affects everything else. I'll give you two examples of that. You know, in China, at one time they thought that, oh my God, these sparrows are all eating up our food grains and it creates famine. So just like the locusts, when they come and eat up all the wheat or the rice, then there is famine in the country. So what we should do? We'll kill all the sparrows. So they did that. But when they did that, they found that the insects are coming and eating also and damaging the crops. So there is a balance, an ecological balance, and we must never exaggerate only one side. That's what the meaning here. All upon each and each upon all. This is an intricate web. Everything is connected with everything else. Just like also we realized that in Bombay also there was Bay reclamation. There was sea and they reclaimed the sea and built a city on it. But it affects the, in America, in Florida also you have the marshes. So, okay, the waste is neither water nor land. Let us make it all land and build huge things. But it affects the ecology. So this is what you realize, that everything is connected. So now man has begun to understand, but it's taking him more than 50, 60 years to control the climate change. Okay, everything is connected. So that's what I mean by all upon each and each upon all. Everything is dependent on everything else. It's a very vast, complex, cooperative effort. Everything. We can see this also in the world. Okay, take the relation between, because then there's talk also of the relations. Say relation between trees and birds. The birds also benefit and the trees also benefit. How? The tree is feeding the birds with its fruit, and the birds are helping the trees because they eat the fruit and they fly elsewhere and drop the seed. Then the tree is also multiplying through the spread of their seeds. So there is a constant connection. Then what about the hippopotamus and the rhinoceros and the birds? The birds come and sit on their back and go on eating up all the insects. So they are also benefiting And the animal also, rhinoceros also is benefiting. So there is an intricate connection between everything. We don't seem to realize that, but that's exactly what it is. You have to lose your ego and you have to start cooperating with everybody else because that's the truth. Okay? That's what Sri is saying. So, but he's saying it in one word. We have to give examples to ourselves. Huh? All upon each and each upon all. So we have covered quite a lot of that with examples. These are the 7 words of the ancient sages. The ancient sages, he is talking about the Vedas. By them have been created and in the light of their meaning are worked out and have to be interpreted. The developed and developing harmonies of the world we know and the worlds behind, of which we have only an indirect knowledge. The light, the sound is one. Their action is sevenfold. The light and sound is put S cap and L cap is like a drama. Na? So in a drama, you have the light and the sound. Or on a TV, you have the audio and the visual. So both are necessary and they create all the action, which is sevenfold. So beautiful description and poetic language. Okay, and he has used the images. We have to bring out the images and see what they are worth of. So even the last one, okay, the light and sound is talking of the drama being enacted in the universe. Okay, so beautiful. In fact, we have in India. It's not in India. Actually, started in France. Saint et Lumière. I don't know if any of you have participated in these. Suppose there is a monument. Okay, so they have Saint et Lumière. That is to say, they throw lights upon that monument and tell you the story and the development of that monument. And at one time it was very popular. Saint et Lumière shows, light and sound.
We have it in Delhi at the Red Fort, and you also have it in Port Blair where the cellular jail is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. So, we have finished the first para, but it is so condensed, na? So we discussed it quite a lot in detail and it's wonderful. So, it's 8:35. So shall we stop here today? Okay, Sunki, make a note.